Well, the rivers around here are absolutely beautiful, but I don't think that background noise is going to do too well in the YouTube video, so I've stepped away from the river to tell a story. It's story time on My Frequencies. Now, the basic synopsis is the story of congruency, living outwardly in alignment with what you feel, what you believe, and what you know to be true on the inside. So back in November, I spent the entire month working for one of the biggest Christmas tree farms in France, and the only time we were asked to wear masks was when we were in the back of a small van being transferred from the farm to the fields. And usually the way we travelled was actually stood on the back of the tractor, and even in the back of the van most of us didn't bother. It was just like, you know, it's more of a courtesy thing than anything else, I think, the wearing of masks. Right from the very go, I've been firmly in the camp of people who do not accept the official story. And I've looked into it myself, and I've seen why my instincts and my intuition were guiding me that way, because you know, I've demonstrated to myself the problems with the story. I kind of knew from the very outset how things were going to go. Even though I don't have much connection with mainstream media and with government, you'll know how I feel about these things if you've watched my channel before. Even without that, I kind of knew how the story was going to be presented, shall we say, to the general public, and I avoided it, okay? I just thought, you know, this is going to blow over. That was my, my hope, let's say. My hope was that it would blow over in a couple of months, and the mask wearing and the hand washing was just like, gonna go away, but obviously it didn't. But you know, we don't own a TV, and we haven't got the news or anything. The first time I saw mainstream news reporting on COVID was at lunchtime in this Christmas tree farm. We'd go into these porta cabins where we had like a cooker to heat up our lunch, and there was always a TV on, and it played this abysmal game show for maybe the first half hour, and then it would go into news.
Mon invité ce matin sur RMC, vous êtes le ministre de l'Agriculture, et cette question, monsieur le ministre, y aura-t-il des sapins pour Noël?
Pour chacun de nos concitoyens, d'avoir accès à ces sapins à partir, je crois que c'est très important, c'est d'abord très important pour les Français, pour les familles, pour les enfants, pendant ces périodes de fin d'année. C'est très important aussi pour toute une filière. On les a beaucoup reçus, beaucoup écoutés, on a beaucoup travaillé avec eux. C'est très important pour cette filière, beaucoup à la valorisation de nos territoires.
Donc à partir du 20, vous autorisez la vente des sapins, et sur quel modèle?
Something that I noticed is that every single news bulletin, even if it wasn't about COVID, obviously everyone in the news bulletin, they're all wearing masks. The journalists are wearing masks, certainly the people they're interviewing in the street are wearing masks. And what I noticed particularly about these people in the streets is that they were all wearing pristine, clean, brand new masks. And I thought, hey, maybe it's just a coincidence. But then I look around at the people in the supermarket, you know, what actual real people, average people are wearing, and they're just wearing these fucked up masks that sort of live in their glove box in the car, or they live in the back pocket with their change. It occurred to me that probably what's happening is these press crews are coming and they're saying, right, can you all put masks on? And they're like, well, you know, I'm just running a market stall. I'm outside, I don't usually wear a mask. And they're like, yeah, but can you just put it on for the TV cameras? I'm like, okay. And that was a hunch, okay? That was an assumption on my part. And the thing is, this Christmas tree farm, like I say, it's one of, if not the biggest in France. And they told us a few weeks into the job, maybe a couple of weeks in, France's Minister for Agriculture was coming to see the farm and see how it worked. And this person was coming with a whole entourage. There were going to be journalists and TV crews and stuff like this there. Going to give them a demonstration of how we cut the tree. We put it in a bag, we stuck it by the trail. And it wasn't until the day that they arrived that they said, okay, so when we do the demonstration, we're not going to do it down in the field where you're working. You're all going to come up to the top of the field by the roadside. The minister's going to arrive with all the TV and that. Can you all make sure that you've got a mask, because the TV are going to be there? And I was just like, I'm looking at these people on TV who, my hunch is that they're being asked to wear masks specifically because there's a TV camera there. And I'm thinking, what effect is that having on the TV watching public? They're thinking that everyone out there is wearing a mask. They're doing their sort of duty for the greater good in wearing the mask. And it's perpetuating the idea that mask wearing is popular. I think that's the word I'm going to use for it. Mask wearing is popular. It's a question of whether or not it's popular, whether or not people think it's worthwhile. I would say that there are people who will unquestioningly wear a mask. They will just do it until they're told not to. And, you know, by the way, your government is never going to turn around and tell you it's safe to take off your mask. No government wants that responsibility. So there are the people who are going to wear masks for the rest of their life now. There are the people who are absolutely no flipping way am I wearing a mask. They're sort of, you know, protesting and they're rioting and they're finding ways around having to wear a mask, and I salute those people. And then there are the people in the middle, and I'm in the middle group, but I'm probably right up this end. I'll happily put it on to go in the garden centre. I'll happily put it on to go in the supermarket, just because I think my fighting days are over. If I'm going to play any part in this war of information, then I'm going to do it through this. I'm going to do it through the camera and through the YouTube video, because I can come out to a place like this and I can do a very kind of relaxed, peaceful activism. I can just talk to people. I can talk to those who are willing to listen. And this is where congruency comes into the story, because I thought I can't be part of that machine that is showing people that mask wearing is popular and acceptable. I refuse to be part of that. And as it happened, it was the boss's son who came down and he said, right, everybody up to the top of the field, we're going to do our demonstration now. Even though he doesn't really speak a word of English and my French is not great, I managed to make him understand that I didn't want to take part. It didn't matter why. So the whole crew went up the top and I heard the machines start up and they were doing the demo, and I was just kind of skulking about in the Christmas trees. It's very easy to hide in a field of Christmas trees. Like I say, it's a war of information and it's a war of ideas, and I refuse to normalise or popularise mask wearing. I'm not going to go into my reasoning for that, strangely, for a video like this. Maybe I perhaps should explain my reasoning, but I feel like if I explain my reasoning, then it's going to come under medical misinformation and it's not going to be allowed on YouTube. You know, this is a huge free speech issue. I think from the very beginning of this conversation, which is what it should be, from the very beginning of this conversation, there has been suppression. So I definitely have plenty of things to say that would fall under the category of medical misinformation. And I have to say it like this because to me, it's not medical misinformation. It's just a different opinion. Okay, I'm not going to say a name, but I can, I'll put a name on the screen if this is uploaded on BitChute. I won't put it on YouTube, but on BitChute, I'll put her name on the screen now. If you look this lady up, she's a molecular biologist who has worked at a very high level in something called the Max Planck Institute, which is a very important place for figuring out stuff about disease and viruses. She's a very well qualified virologist. The significant thing about this lady is that she is a mainstream doctor. She believes in vaccines, she believes in COVID-19, and she is absolutely against the mask wearing and the whole kind of lockdown approach. And if you look her up, she has some very interesting things to say, but you won't find her on YouTube. You're highly unlikely to find her on Facebook. If you do, she'll be, you know, blurred out. The video will be blurred out, and you'll have to click a button to say, yeah, I understand this is misinformation before you're allowed to watch it. She's completely suppressed on YouTube. She's on BitChute though. You can find interviews with this lady on BitChute. Also, the inventor of the PCR test, I'll put his name on the screen. Again, if you're watching on BitChute, his name will be on the screen. And he is a fascinating guy to listen to. And there's actual videoed interviews of him speaking about the PCR test that are very enlightening for people who are trying to dig up the truth. Like I say, it's a war for information. And if it's not a level playing field, if all people are allowed to access, or if all people are easily able to access is giving them one side of the story, then that explains why things are the way they are. And I just didn't want to contribute to that. I wouldn't accept it, you know. I think there's great significance for me in the fact that I moved to France just as COVID was landing in Europe, right? The first cases were being reported in Paris when I was there traveling through on my bicycle. And, you know, this is highly significant. The timing of this pandemic is highly significant. What's going to come down the track after it is going to demonstrate, for those with eyes to see at least, that the timing was highly significant. A lot of the things that are being put in place now are going to be instrumental in what comes next. But I do feel for the people who know that what's going on is wrong to some extent. And let me just clarify that you can completely believe the official COVID narrative but still think that the controls and the surveillance and the masking is wrong. So thanks for watching. Let me know down below where you are with this, how far you go to follow the rules or to take action against them, to speak out. And also down below you'll find my BitChute link, where I will be uploading videos soon talking about what I think about COVID and masking and the testing in particular. And it's not going to be suitable for YouTube because of the way they cave to external pressure to censor certain types of opinions. That's all we can say, I think.